So, folks, we got to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, and we got to talk about Donald Trump and the Trump administration's efforts, seemingly to just try and sweep all that under the rug. It just wasn't that big of a deal. Keep in mind, like Donald Trump was saying it was a hoax, then was saying the Trump administration was saying, oh well, he only trafficked women and girls for himself. No one else was involved, and we all know that's a load of horse shit. Like we all know that is just lies. And well, so the other day we got the release of the Epstein files, sort of. We got like a release of like 4 different batches of documents, and those documents were by and large redacted or like heavily. Like in one case, there was a document that was like over 100 pages long, just completely and utterly redacted. And we also got pictures of like Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell with victims, but also with people who were very clearly guests and not victims, whose identities were hidden, redacted. A lot of their friends apparently had black squares for faces, a unique condition to be sure. We also got a bunch of pictures of Bill Clinton hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein. And, a lot of Republicans were like, see, your guy, he's compromised. And like, first of all, Bill Clinton has never been our guy. All right. If Bill Clinton is outed for misdeeds with any of these women, like, yeah, feel free to lock him up. We're not ride or die for Bill Clinton. Literally no one is. And we got to see the famous painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress, a la Monica Lewinsky, haha, hee hee. But we also just didn't get all of the files. According to Ro Khanna, something like only like 1% of the files, 10% of the files were released in those first 4 batches. And like, where's the rest? And the Justice Department saying, well, we got to take our time to properly redact all of these. And it's so clearly bullshit. Because not only that, but there have been pictures now of Donald Trump that people found while combing through the Epstein files that have been released so far. There was one that was a picture of Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump kind of on a desk in the background, unredacted. That image got pulled out of the Epstein files by the government. The government removed that image for some reason. And, well, here's a statement from Bill Clinton. As conservatives are like, see, Bill, your guy, we got him. Here's Bill Clinton's statement. Statement by Angel Urena, spokesman for former President Bill Clinton. The Epstein Files Transparency Act imposes a clear legal duty on the United States Department of Justice to produce the full and complete record the public demands and deserves. However, what the Department of Justice has released so far, and the manner in which it did so, makes one thing clear. Someone or something is being protected. We don't know whom, what, or why. But we do know this. We need no such protection. Accordingly, we call on President Trump to direct Attorney General Bondi to immediately release any remaining materials referring to, mentioning, or containing a photograph of Bill Clinton. This includes, without limitation, any records that may exist and are subject to disclosure under the Act, including grand jury transcripts, interview notes, photographs, and findings by the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, as referenced under oath to Congress by President Trump's first-term Attorney General. Refusal to do so will confirm the widespread suspicion that the Department of Justice's actions to date are not about transparency, but insinuation, using selective releases to imply wrongdoing about individuals who have already been repeatedly cleared by the very same Department of Justice over many years under presidents and attorneys general of both parties. So basically, the entire implication here has been, look, Bill Clinton did a lot of wrong things. And like Bill Clinton is out here being like, nah, release all of it. Even
Release
Bill Clinton.
Not so slick Willie files.
Exactly, Sake Tanuki. Like Bill Clinton's out here basically saying, oh yeah? Release all of it. And like, do I think Bill Clinton is a piece of shit? Yes. Do I think Bill Clinton might be implicated to some degree in these images and in these files. But like, I'm not gonna lie, having a statement out here like that helps to increase the pressure on the Trump administration to release these files. And that's, well, for one thing, that's really interesting for me. Also, can we just take a moment to really look at what Donald Trump is saying these days about Jeffrey Epstein and to say, this does not seem like how an innocent man would act.
Like, for instance, today we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents.
Yeah, well, look, I have a bunch of these ChatGPT images of boats, and they're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. Can you believe it? I thought that was done. Guys, either he genuinely has no idea what's going on, or this is the worst attempt to run a distraction I've ever seen in my life. Oh, but my big Trump class boats, they're gonna have rail guns on them. Like, Trump complains about Epstein files distracting from his agenda as DOJ comes under fire over limited release. Well, why does suddenly everyone want to ask me about my multi-decade long friendship with one of the world's most notorious pedophiles and sex traffickers? Huh? Well, it's so unfair. Why can't they just talk about my boats? Either way, it's a bad look. The problem is, this is going to continue to be a bad look for him. And that's, I don't see that stopping. Like, I see this only continuing to get worse for him. I'm sorry. Like, this story isn't gonna go away when these are the stories and headlines running like every damn day. Available to download Friday, some Epstein files no longer there Saturday afternoon. Like, NPR identified more than a dozen files released by the DOJ on Friday that are no longer available Saturday afternoon, including one that shows President Trump's photo on a desk among several other photographs. The removed files also show various works of art, including those containing nudity. And, like, look, the longer this continues to go on, where they keep releasing and unreleasing stuff, the worse it's going to look, because this article from NPR that I just showed you guys is from December 21st. Okay? This article from the Washington Post is from December 22nd, when a second batch of the Epstein files came out. Now, this batch has a bunch of references to Donald J. Trump. However, and there's a big however here, the documents were available for several hours Monday afternoon and evening on the Justice Department website, but appear to have been taken down around 8 p.m. The Washington Post downloaded the full set of files while they were accessible. The Justice Department did not immediately respond to questions about why the documents had been posted, and then apparently removed. The White House also did not respond to requests for comment about the newly released documents. So, they released a bunch of documents with Trump's name in them, and then took them down again, and it kind of seems like they made a mistake and released a bunch of the files that reference Donald Trump that they were not supposed to release. And part of the problem for them here is that them doing this on multiple of these batches makes them look guilty as shit. And not only that, we also, like, it's not like we're not gonna see these files because these news organizations are downloading them the instant they become public. When you just try and take them down, that doesn't make them go away. The internet is forever. And not only that, guys, but I want to just one last kind of update for this story. All right, one last little thing, you know. How many of you are familiar with a man by the name of Larry Nassar? You know, just looking for a show of hands in the chat. How many of you are familiar with Larry Nassar? No? Nope. Okay. Well, for those of you who are not familiar with Larry Nassar, he served as the doctor for the United States women's national gymnastics team from 1996 to 2014. And in the process of serving as their team doctor, he wound up sexually assaulting 265 women and girls. And for that, he was eventually caught and then sentenced to anywhere from 100 to 235 years in prison. So, and that's just, you know, on one like that's just one part of it. He's actually serving hundreds of years in prison cumulatively beyond that between state and federal charges. Now, he was convicted in 2017 and in 2018. The only reason I'm elaborating on who Larry Nassar is because one of the documents that the DOJ uploaded earlier today was this letter. And this letter is from Jeffrey Epstein to Larry Nassar. And it is postmarked only days before Jeffrey Epstein's death. Dear LN, as you know by now, I have taken the short route home. Good luck. We shared one thing, our love and caring for young ladies, and the hope they'd reach their full potential. Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls. When a young beauty walked by, he loved to grab snatch, whereas we ended up snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Yours, J. Epstein. This is from August of 2019. This is quite possibly the last letter Jeffrey Epstein sent. He sent it to one of the most prolific pedophiles serving time in United States prison. And he specifically mentions Donald Trump sharing their love of having sex with children. So, look, I know it's not the smoking gun that shows that Donald Trump was doing that, but as far as I'm concerned, it's close enough. It's close enough. I believe that this was one of the documents that was taken down by the DOJ. And I guess the question is, why did the DOJ feel the need to take down this letter between two men, one incarcerated, the other deceased, when the only other person mentioned in it was Donald Trump? Really makes you think. I just can't put it together. Maybe some of the MAGA folks who are out there sleuthing it up to fight for the kids can put together the pieces, because I just can't figure it out. Who could ever solve this puzzle of whether or not the president of the United States, the best friend of one of the most prolific child sex traffickers of our time, may have been in to children sexually? Who could say? It's impossible. I don't know, maybe some of those MAGA folks can figure it out. Anyway, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments, because this is about as much of this segment as I can stomach. It's really gross. Makes my skin crawl. And yeah, please, folks, hit that like button if you got anything out of this. Follow, subscribe, do the things, and please join your local DSA, make it more effective, and radicalize your local Dems. Make them more inclined towards embracing progressive working class policy. And let's get these conservatives who want to abuse children out of office. Huh?
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, being flame more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.